Hello everyone, it's me, Juan, 54 bringing a video. Today we're back. Yes, we're back, and we're going to be talking about game theory, everything we need to know about Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. It's going to be a long video, and let's be honest, I don't usually do these type of recap videos. Well, I'm assuming it's a recap video, but we do kind of freshen up about our Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 knowledge. Because next week, Thursday, we're about to finally run the hands with Dr. Sawyer. And I cannot wait for that. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. No more nothing. Let's go.
What do you need to know before Poppy Playtime Chapter 4? It's been a whole year since the previous chapter, and in the meantime, Mob has done what they do best, giving out more lore than you can shake a mechanical arm at. So don't worry, loyal theorists, because I have played the spin-offs, I watched every trailer, I even read the book. Also,
I'm still trying to find that book.
Here is everything you need to know about the Poppy Playtime line.
What?
Hello, Internet. Welcome to
Poppy Play Timeline. So is this going to be a timeline?
The Game Theory, the show
Okay.
that's ready to take its relationship with Poppy to the next level. We got nothing. No new character, no new trailer, not even a release date. That's right, just like Scott was released.
Dang.
So fast, Matt couldn't keep up. Not 5 minutes before our recent theory
Wait,
dropped.
go back, wait.
That's right, just like Scott was released.
Wait, I thought that... I'm pretty sure I saw, like, the thumbnail before about the doctor, and I'm pretty sure I saw it, like, being an eye looking at Kissy Missy. I never seen this one that had catnap. Interesting. I might have to talk about that soon. Well, anyways, let's go.
So fast, Matt couldn't keep up. Not 5 minutes before our recent theory dropped, Mob Entertainment released a new trailer with a new character and a release date.
Oh, yeah.
Minutes? Are you kidding me?
I'm ready.
Poppy wasn't brought to life for lore reasons. It was to troll me for all eternity.
Ha.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did the same thing to us this week. Regardless, because of Mob's ridiculous and seemingly never-ending amount of content,
I didn't catch anything, but maybe you guys know.
It can be a little tricky to keep up with everything. We've had a book, 2
Yep.
ARGs, a Roblox spin-off, and over a dozen teasers and videos. But if you're someone... We've had a book, 2 ARGs, a Roblox spin-off.
A Roblox spin-off that is considered canon. Wait, is it canon? Dang, I'm lost in the loop here. I need to watch this video.
And over a dozen teasers and videos. But if you're someone that's only played the games, or you just haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then there's been a whole year worth of story that you would have no idea about going into Chapter 4. So today, I'm going to give you all a hand and fill you in from the beginning with all the important names, dates, and lore Mob has given us, as well as a few theories of our own for good measure.
Okay.
All one cohesive timeline. Now, this is a big task. So instead of doing this like our usual theories, I wanted to try treating this like our FNAF timeline. It's more story focused, with references in the bottom corner showing thumbnails, books, titles, basically any citations that I'll be pulling from. I've also got this nifty little traffic light symbol in the top corner to clear things up. Green means what I'm saying are facts that we have physical evidence for. Amber means what I'm saying is theory, but it's supported by evidence. And red means it's speculation. That makes sense for the story, but we don't have a lot of evidence for it.
Alright, so I gotta keep a close eye on that. Alright.
It's time to analyze the history of this forgotten factory. Just be careful that the screen doesn't stare back.
Oh, come on, man.
Playtime Co. was founded in the good old US of A in 1930. Quickly, it became one of the most well-renowned toy companies in the world, priding itself in making toys locally instead of overseas like its competitor Mattel. Yes, that Mattel, the ones who made Barbie.
No. So Barbie is canon to this. So that's why they're trying to make a Poppy Playtime movie. They saw the success of the Barbie movie and they want to say, yes, sir. Oh my goodness.
I know exactly where you're going with this, and I have to say, I really resent it. All of this success was thanks to one man, the founder of Playtime Co., Elliot Ludwig.
Okay.
All he wanted was to bring joy to children, but sadly, that noble goal meant that he spent all of his time at work, neglecting his own family, and his wife had had enough, divorcing him that same year. Nevertheless, Elliot pushed forward, though for 2 decades, he struggled to figure out the key to innovating the toy-making world, until finally he hit a breakthrough.
1950, okay.
In 1950, Elliot created a toy that would change the world forever. Poppy Playtime.
Okay.
A girl can talk to her. Poppy gives her answers. She is the first doll actually able to have a conversation with a child.
Not only that, but her hair also smelled like poppies, which had been used throughout history to help children fall asleep, making her an instant hit with the parents. How did Elliot achieve this incredible feat? Well, because Poppy wasn't just a plastic toy. Elliot used organic parts to make her, allowing Poppy to really seem alive. He just needed to add a quick no-refund policy to anyone who tried to fix the Poppy doll themselves, just to keep it under wraps.
And it's true. It's true. So what the hey? If someone has the book, I would really want you guys to really answer my question, because like, so you mean to tell me that Elliot Ludwig, even from back then, way before his daughter even got sentenced to the gulag, you mean to tell me that he was already been using organic material from humans for the toys? What? And Poppy Playtime is, if this is correct, that's saying that Poppy Playtime was the first toy. So you mean to tell me that it's been used with every other toy? Or did Elliot Ludwig just had the one toy that was organic? Oh man. Just keep going. Just keep going.
No one ever discovers this little secret of Elliot's. But Poppy sales alone can't keep the toy company afloat. So they release a handful of new toys, like Bron the Dinosaur in 1961, or Boxy Boo in 1966. Though none of them really compared to Poppy in terms of popularity. But then, out of nowhere, tragedy struck. Since day one, Elliot had been encouraging his employees to adopt, to bring joy to children who had none of their own. And he lived by example, adopting a daughter of his own. Finally, the family that the family man had always wanted, until she passed away before his very eyes. There was nothing he could do to save her. All Elliot could do was take the biological knowledge he had and turn her into another organic Poppy doll, just so he could keep a part of her with him forever, so part of her could live on. Little did he know how successful that experiment was. Somehow,
not that face again, please.
Managed to survive the process. Naturally, Elliot is shocked by this. His daughter is back, living on inside this doll that he made. He couldn't let her fall out of his grasp again, so he builds a family home inside the factory storage bay and locks her inside a glass.
I really need to get that book. I really do.
He even adds a passage leading directly to his office so he can visit her whenever he or she wants. With his family now returned to him, his passion to strive for innovation was restored.
But with so much ambition, he rose back up and continued to fulfill his vision for the Playtime Co. toy factory.
The first thing he needed was more people like him. Smart, capable people that could help him continue to innovate and answer the toughest questions the world had to offer. Like say, how was a child able to live on inside a doll, perhaps?
Stop with that face, man. Okay, well, it's not... Okay, it's not... Okay, it's not the face that I'm... Okay, I'm okay with the creepy looking one. Just... I'm still traumatized from that whole... You know, from that whole Poppy Playtime cutout with the whole, you know, psycho from, you know, what's that name? What's that anime's name? No, not Data Life. It was that pink yandere girl, you know? It was that pink yandere girl. I might have to... You guys, I know my fellow anime watchers know what I'm talking about. Like, you know, it was that... I don't know if I like that. No, I did not.
People who still had some of that childlike wonder, and thus the Young Geniuses program was born. Elliot sent out flyers and posters similar to that of the time period, trying to gather young minds together to turn them into the scientists of the future, stamped with the logo he'd been using for Playtime since the early days. This attracted many young and bright individuals, including a brilliant, albeit slightly cold young man named Harley Sawyer.
Boo!
Was a peculiar character. He didn't care for his comrades, he hardly smiled, but one thing he clearly loved was science, and Elliot took a liking to this strange boy. He may not have been normal, but neither was Elliot. He saw part of himself in Harley. This was the kind of
You
kid
really
who could
shouldn't,
take
boy.
under his wing, mold into someone who could really shape the future, and maybe even catapult Playtime into the stratosphere of success.
You don't want him.
That didn't quite work out. Harley never lost his distaste for others, and while he continued to pursue innovation, he was just doing so to push the boundaries of what could be done, not to help humanity like Elliot envisioned. That being said, Elliot didn't give up. He kept trying to change Harley's point of view, but no matter how hard he tried, it was no use. Harley could not change. Not here anyway. And so Elliot makes the hard decision to kick Harley out of the program, sending him home to the outside world to be around more people, hoping it will help him to understand why they do what they do. Harley was destroyed by this news. His hero, Elliot Ludwig, was abandoning him. All he could see Elliot as was soft, pathetic, and short-sighted, backstabbing him because he was too much of a genius for Elliot to understand. Though
no, it's because he was heartless.
He had to do what he was told, and so Harley left the program, disappearing from the halls of Playtime Co. At least for now.
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Oh, come on!
Playtime Co. At least for now.
Alright, so we heard about that. So we're on 1970. Okay.
As the years go by, more and more, Elliot feels like it's not really enough to just encourage his employees to adopt. There are still so many children that need a home, much like his own daughter did. And while the Young Geniuses program was good, by taking on young people so late in their childhoods, even they were already stuck in their ways like Harley was. So, in 1976, Elliot announces a new program, Playcare, Playtime's own on-site orphanage, where he can continue to bring joy to children and educate them in the ways they should go, creating a mass of young, brilliant minds that could help lead the world to prosperity. Now, while all those programs sound good on paper, and they were well received by the public, they were beginning to cost Elliot a lot of money. Poppy was the last big financial success, and that was over 2 decades ago. But he can't keep innovating in the toy world and run these programs on his own. He would need more staff. So he hires people like Stella Grayber to run the Playcare, Lee Pierre as head of innovation, Eddie M.N. Ritterman as the head of research, Jimmy Roth as the chief marketing officer. Their first assignment, figure out how to stop the company from feeling, quote, old-fashioned. With all their powers combined, they try to get the company back on top, starting with the release of brand new toys like Candy Cat in 1979.
Alright, so we're now in 1980s.
They continue to release toys into the next decade. They try Swap-Em-Alls that you could mix and match like Cappy and PJ Pugapilla.
Wait, what? Catbee is a mix and match toy? Huh. I didn't know that. But Pugapilla too? How does that work? Okay, I don't want to give Playtime Co. any credit, okay? I'm putting them accountable like the Fazbear Entertainment. But let's be honest. I feel like, say Playtime Co. exists, these toys, like Catbee, maybe Pugapilla, Poppy Playtime, I can kind of see them as, toys kids would like to buy. I'm just going to admit it. Maybe not like the corrupted toys, but, they look aesthetic enough for a child who wants to buy them.
So try Kick Me Paul for some reason, but
Kick Me
nothing could
Paul?
quite match the success of Elliot's original Poppy. That was until 1984, when Elliot had another idea. He went to the team, and shortly after, he releases the Blue Boy himself, Huggy Wuggy.
Oh,
Things
yeah!
were looking up. Huggy is such a big hit with the kids, it basically becomes the face of the brand. In the eyes of the public, Poppy was a long-forgotten memory. Long live Huggy! Of course, he has to
Please come
capitalize
back
off
in
of this
chapter 4
success
for
by
real.
releasing Huggy's pink counterpart, Kissy Missy, 1 year later.
Okay.
She too is a huge success, just not as big as Huggy, obviously. Playtime Co. is on top of the world at this point. It's almost like they can do no wrong. But sadly, over the next half of the decade, their profits once again decrease. Sure, Huggy was successful, but just like Poppy before, you can't sustain an entire company off of a single toy, even if he has a cute pink girlfriend. They needed something new, and one of them had an idea. What if you create a bunch of toys as part of a set? That way, kids
yeah, that
aren't
would do
buying
it.
just one toy, but several. Enter the Smiling Critters in 1989. Similar to Care Bears or Cabbage Patch Kids, these are small, cuddly toys with big personalities, but each one
I'm not sure
and
about
so
those
you would need to
designs,
collect
though.
them all for the full experience. This was the perfect way to increase the dropping sales numbers Playtime was facing. Plus, to really capture the same appeal as Poppy and her poppy-scented hair, these critters would each come with their own unique scents.
Alright.
With calming effects. Crafty Corn smells like jasmine, Bobby Bear Hug like rose. But would calming be enough? Poppy's hair literally put children to sleep. That's what made her such a hit with the parents in the 50s. They needed these smiling critters to do the same. So they get to work developing one more smiling critter. One with the advertised scent of lavender, a scent associated with sleep, but instead of actually using lavender, they would create a poppy gas.
That is a bad
actively put
idea.
kids to sleep, just like Poppy did. They put the smoke inside the purple cat and gave him a name that tied into his sleepy powers, Catnap.
You had the right idea, but why did you have to make it puff out gas? Gas. You could have just... No other... And let me guess. The play feature is that you pull on its tail and boom, there goes the smoke. You guys had the perfect idea. You had Catnap right, alright? You had Catnap as in, smells like lavender. Boom. Nothing else, okay? There was nothing to need to be done, okay? But you guys decided to add the gas as the idea. Oh, no. Now watch. We're going to see Catnap is now going to be facing as much trouble as Pepe Le Pew.
And just to be on the safe side, Playtime Co. also commissions the creation of a Saturday morning cartoon featuring this new cast of characters, all begging Catnap to help them fall to sleep with his red smoke, showing kids
and that design really helps out with the toy selling, huh?
Initially, everything is going according to plan. Sales for this new line of toys,
I won't lie, I would actually do that. I've done the same with the Fazbear Frights toys. I mean, FNAF toys.
Adorable critters, except for Catnap. After a few weeks, doctors began reporting a rise in children suffering from intense nightmares that all started after they received their Catnap toys. In Playtime's desperation to mimic the sleep-inducing effects that Poppy had, they'd accidentally concocted something that, yes, put children to sleep, but also gave children horrible nightmares. Thankfully for Bleeth and the team, no connection was ever proven, but they still needed to save face. They recalled all of the Catnap toys, and Catnap was removed from the Smiling Critters lineup entirely.
Blacklisted, got it. Oh, come on!
100%.
The Smiling Critters disaster put Playtime Co. in a bad spot. If they were going to survive the next decade, something needed to be done, and fast. And so, Leith Pierre put his head of innovation status to good use and came up with an unusual but effective plan. He hired a private investigator, Jared Lockhart, to track down former members of the Young Geniuses program that Elliot had started decades ago.
No.
These people trained under Elliot.
Yes,
They
don't
were
do it.
geniuses from a young age, and most of them had quite impressive careers. If anyone was going to be able to come up with an idea to save this company, it would be one of them. Sometime later, Jared arrives with the list, and when it lands on Leith's desk, there is one option that immediately catches his eye. Harley Sawyer.
Oh, boys! I'm back!
No!
Certified by the American Board of Neurological Surgery, he was, by all accounts, a genius. And with Elliot using biological parts to make Poppy, a surgeon felt like the perfect fit. Leith presents this idea to Elliot for final approval. And while Elliot is hesitant at first, he does remember that Harley was the brightest of the bunch back in the day. And maybe all these years away have taught him the lessons he was hoping
No, he hasn't.
With that approval, Leith reaches out to Harley on
He's
January
a peasant.
15th, 1990, giving him an offer to come and join Playtime Co. once again. And strangely, despite the hurt Elliot caused him all those years ago, for some reason, Harley accepts the offer. Immediately, he begins showing the level of promise they were hoping for from this recruit. He sees the problems at Playtime Co., the public outcry, the declining profits, and he came up with an idea that would fix everything.
Giant toys. We can increase our workforce and simultaneously decrease the number of lawsuits and people on our payroll if the people we have working aren't people. Put me in charge of it, and I will save this company.
Elliot, don't listen.
Head of special projects, and together they begin
God
hiring
dang it,
other
Elliot, don't
scientists
listen to
help
that
with
man.
the
He
development
capping.
of the Bigger Bodies Initiative. Some of them are fellow Young Genius alumni like Dr. Bruno White and Dr. Carmine McKay, but others are just young and eager biologists looking for their first big break, like the owner of the Orientation Notebook, PW. From here, the company begins their experiments. Harley takes the new scientists to observe and study the Poppy doll that he remembered being in the storage bay from his days in the Young Geniuses program. He told them to use her as the blueprint to bring toys to life.
I am the cause. Being able to exist as a doll.
Unused. Okay, so we're using the unused
Everyone
voice
works
lines.
diligently to try and recreate the magic of this one Poppy doll. But after 814 experiments, it's clear that things aren't working with simple rats. They need to try something bigger. They need to repeat what Elliot did. They need to use children. Harley delivers the note to Elliot as one of his many updates on the program, but once again, Elliot is torn. Up until this point, these experiments weren't really all that bad. It was just a few hundred rats that suffered the consequences. But
Yeah.
he had a choice to make. He'd spent his life trying to bring joy to children, to give them a home, somewhere they could grow and overcome the odds. Harley still couldn't believe this soft old man. What is more important to you, these children or the business you've spent decades building, which people rely on for their own families? Mortality is just a curse on humanity anyway. If we can figure this out, all these orphans who had suffered would never grow old or sick. They could live forever and keep bringing joy to other children for centuries to come.
I'm not gonna lie, when he said live forever, I remember that Poppy Playtime fan song, the Live Forever. I think I'm trying to remember who made it. Was it Rocket Gaming? Or DA Games? Or GC5? I don't know. It was one. It was a real. I really listened to it. I'm not gonna lie. I listened to it maybe like once or twice every month. It was that good of a song. You should really check it out. But anyways.
Was not an easy decision, but this argument from Harley does sway Elliot. With that permission in hand, the senior staff of Playtime Co. set about building the Game Station, a facility designed to test the orphans' physical and mental abilities, pairing them with a specific toy, and if they were deemed ready, taken away for conversion.
They come for games and never come back.
As part of this process, they utilized the red smoke that they made for the catnap toy. Where previously Poppy gels had failed, gas is a much more effective way of getting the mystical powers of the poppy flower that help bring Poppy to life into the bodies of these orphans. They install shower heads throughout the playcare to distribute the gas, but it wasn't the most effective solution. Kids could see them and what they were doing. They became wary of going to bed. An alternate solution would need to be found. However, they had other problems to deal with. Over the last few years, there had been one employee that had been causing Playtime Co. a lot of trouble. They weren't ruining their plans as such. They were just a bit of an administrative headache. That man was Rich Lovitz. Initially, he was working.
Yay, my boy Rich!
He seemed to be on board with the general Playtime mission, appreciating the good.
He's my favorite character, I'm not gonna lie.
Sadly, though, Rich had a habit of losing his temper with management, and so he was demoted to the rejected toy room, which, as you might imagine, he took really well.
After years of being ignored, the company actually heard all my complaints. I guess my words must have really inspired them to take action, because the next day I got demoted down here to the freaking island of misfit toys!
Oh, come on!
Of course,
Ah, poor Rich. Poor Rich. I don't know, I resonate with him. I can get the anger. I used to have anger issues back in the day.
Playtime Co. had to demote him again, putting him to work in construction in the caves beneath the factory. Down here, in relative solitude, he was able to recognize his shortcomings and, with the help of his new supervisor, began to improve, even to the point of getting promoted. At first, this seemed great for Playtime Co. A reformed employee. The system worked. That was until Rich continued being promoted and began learning what was really going on with the orphans. He cared for these kids. That was the one good thing he had going for him from the beginning. And so he begins flying off the handle once again. The problem was now he knew too much. He could actually cause a problem for Playtime Co. if he went to the
not my goat.
They couldn't just fire him anymore. They needed to get rid of him.
No.
And with the Bigger Bodies initiative well underway, as well as Harley's requests for bigger subjects, they had an idea. They took Rich and used him as a guinea pig, turning him into the first semi-successful experiment, 1006.
What?
The prototype. Not a toy as such, more a mix of mechanical and biological parts. It lacked the ability to speak, but was...
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. So, wait, you mean to tell me that... So you're proposing that Rich, my favorite goat, he's the prototype? But I thought all signs were looking at, you know... Okay, well, I get it. It's on yellow, so it's not 100% confirmed. But the idea of Rich being the prototype and not Thomas Elliot... I mean... It does break the norm that indie games usually set up, but I mean, at the same time... I don't know... Nah, not my boy Rich. Honestly, I feel like I might have to come back to this because, like, now you just got me intrigued. Because if it is Rich, then this changes everything. But if it isn't Rich, and if it's actually Thomas Elliot, you know what? I might have to make a follow-up video after this. I might have to make a follow-up video. Let's go.
Able to mimic voices of others to communicate, Playtime Co. was finally seeing success and removing a problem at the same time. But Rich, now 1006, wouldn't forget what had been done to him, nor what they were doing to the orphans. He just needed to bide his time and wait for the right moment to strike. Playtime Co. continued their development of the Bigger Bodies, but they struggled to find the success they'd had with 1006, usually unable to reactivate their brains after surgery. That is when Harley decided to try something different. He decided to make the Bigger Body physically bigger, rather than just trying to match the size of the test subject. It flew in the face of all logic, but he needed to try something, and the crazy part is, it worked. They created Experiment 1160, Boxy Boo, and this discovery opened up a new world of possibilities for the future. At this point, several orphans are showing promise in the game station, although there was one that caught Harley's attention specifically, Quinn Navidson. He was a pretty average kid, except he had a strange obsession with removing the heads off of all of his toys. However, Harley didn't see
Just
this
please don't be the
disposition as
toys that actually have organs in them.
something he could take advantage of, manipulate to get his scores higher and make him a more successful Bigger Body down the road. Harley spends some one-on-one time with Quinn, convincing him that he understands Quinn better than most, and asking him to just simply apply himself at the next assessment. And next time, Quinn's scores did improve in most areas, although his intelligence seemed to wane a bit, but not enough to stop the inevitable. In August 1990, Quinn became Experiment 1166.
Quinn!
Agile, swift, but his intelligence still wasn't where Harley wanted it. He saw him more like a dog, which, while not ideal, could be useful for protection. The more Bigger Bodies they made, the more things there were that could kill him and stop his progress. So Harley isolated Yarnaby, making Yarnaby loyal only to him. Around that same time, another orphan named Theodore Grant began causing some mischief in the playcare, breaking into rooms, stealing files, even stealing a grab pack. When questioned about it, he just said it was his friend that told him to do those things. So just assume this friend is of the imaginary persuasion, but in reality, it was very, very real. 1006 had found a way out of containment and was using Theo to help them escape. Once it had all the information, 1006 and Theo made a break for it. Though, due to Theo's inexperience, he accidentally overcharges the electrified grab pack hand and electrocutes himself. At this moment, 1006 has a choice. Gain the freedom it wants or save Theo. It chooses the latter. It gives Theo over
Hey,
to
my boy
Playtime
Rich.
scientists and turns itself
Clap it
into
up. He
locked away
still
once
cares.
again.
He's
Now,
still
there's
in
only
there.
one way the scientists are able to save Theo. And on November 11th, 1990, the bigger body catnap was born. Experiment 1188. He was put into the play care because he was able to release the red gas just like the toy. And the kids would, hopefully, be much less suspicious of this big friendly toy than a typical showerhead. Again, Playtime Co. was killing two birds with one stone. The bigger body's
still packed
initiative
him
was
up,
now
though.
in full swing. Between Catnap and Yarnaby, Huggy was created. And in 1991, he was put to work as Playtime Co.'s new security measure. Though his wandering eyes were noticed by an employee who wasn't supposed to know anything. Rowan Stoll. Rowan wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on and, over the course of a few months, began to figure out exactly what Playtime Co. was doing. When he threatened to leak what he'd found to the public, Harley put his bigger bodies to good use.
Oh, no. Oh, come on!
We need to start taming that appetite of yours to flesh.
Get me an update on the situation with Goldstone.
That same year, another orphan, Marie Payne, began suffering from unwakeable nightmares thanks to Catnap's gas, leading to the latest experiment we know of to date. Experiment 1222, Mummy Longlegs.
Oh,
she was
boy.
violent towards the staff, but kind towards the kids, making her the perfect guardian for the game station. And by May of 1992, the game station is in its heyday. Everything is working as planned. But one person is still causing problems. Elliot Ludwig had put a picture up in his office that one of the kids had given him of the game station and Mummy Longlegs. But when he sat there and looked at it, those decisions that had led to this point, they began to weigh heavy on his shoulders. He still felt that Harley's pursuit of innovation for the sake of it wasn't right. But the rest of the senior team seemed to be all for him, and it was hard to deny that the company was seeing success. Regardless,
Come
he
on,
knew
man.
he needed to put some kind of safety measure in place.
Good.
Something to keep Harley in check, just in case his worst fears came true. So he promoted one of the fellow scientists and Young Geniuses graduate, Dr. Bruno White, to become Harley's superior. Once Harley found out, he could think of this as nothing more than another betrayal from Elliot. And this time, he'd had enough. Elliot was too soft to keep things moving forward. He needed to be got rid of, just like every other problem employee they'd faced. One day, both the staff and the public were informed that Elliot Ludwig had passed away. But Harley Sawyer was the only one who knew the truth about what happened. Thanks to Dr. White's promotion, Harley's involvement in things slowly became less and less, leading Harley to become more and more frustrated and driving him more and more insane. And
Cry about it. But of course, it had to be Sawyer. If that's... Look, I get it. It's still on the yellow, so it's not 100% correct. But I wouldn't even pass it. I wouldn't even pass it up. I mean, like, Dr. Sawyer, we're literally seeing that he's full-on Joker. He's literally the Joker of Poppy Playtime. So, and Joker has committed so much things. I can think of a few. The time he paralyzed Batgirl, aka Oracle. The time he killed Jason Todd. The time that he made Tim Drake into Joker Jr. And I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he did something to Dr. Sawyer. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at what he did to Thomas Elliot. I feel like he could be responsible. I mean, shoot. I mean, like, who else could it be? What else could it be? Huggy Wuggy? Well, I mean, like, Great. I just knew it, okay? The more and more I hear about Dr. Sawyer, the more and more I'm just hyped for next week so I can put him in a pack. All of us will put him in a pack.
the one day, he decided to take matters into his own hands. During a guided tour of the factory in 1993, fires break out in the theater, causing casualties all across the facility. Obviously, Leith Pierre is furious. Now, he has to clean up the mess, taking care of any potential witnesses. This is not the kind of publicity Playtime needed. He brings back their private investigator, Jared, to figure out who is to blame, and true to his word, he gets them an answer.
Dr. Harley Sawyer.
After spouting rhetoric about one bad day and being betrayed by Elliot all of those years ago, Harley had finally gone full Joker and set the theater ablaze, baptizing everyone in the flames that he was working so hard to save them all from with his Bigger Bodies initiative. As Leith had suggested, Harley needed to be punished, but he can't justify the usual methods. Harley is an undeniable genius, and it would be a shame to lose such a brilliant mind when they definitely still needed him. The Bigger Bodies, while alive, were temperamental and hard to control. They needed to keep perfecting the process. This also meant turning Harley into a bigger body wasn't an option either, as he too would likely lose his mind.
Like he already hasn't.
Instead of turning Harley into a bigger body, why not turn Harley into a digital consciousness?
Oh,
They could focus all their
no.
attention on keeping his mind alive without the need for a working body. That way, Harley could still help them and guide the scientific process, but he couldn't physically cause any problems. It was perfect. By 1994, this plan is underway. The party line is that Harley is just out, maybe on a sabbatical or something.
Why,
And in
man?
1995, the new Playtime automated companion is up and running, ready to meet with scientists like PW. The system would end up being shut down after May of that year, but regardless, it was another success for Playtime Co. However, as we've seen time and time again, pride cometh before the fall, and this next fall would be the biggest Playtime had ever seen. Behind the scenes, while Playtime Co. had been dealing with Harley, 1006 had been plotting. They'd been gathering all the toys together and promising them the thing they all wanted: freedom. They formulated a plan to take back the factory from Playtime and kill all those who'd helped turn them into monsters. They called it the Hour of Joy, and on August 8th, 1995, they executed that plan. They attack everyone: scientists, tour guides, construction workers. It didn't matter. They were all responsible. They all needed to die. The toys drag the bodies into the depths and slowly consume them to satiate their hunger. Only a small few managed to escape the carnage, Leith Pierre being one of them. Despite the insane loss the company was facing, he kept insisting Playtime Co. continue their work. He began recruitment efforts for a resource extraction team, people that would go back into Playtime Co. and collect the parts they needed to keep making bigger bodies. But eventually, the rising pressure from the public over the mysterious disappearance of the staff, their friends and family, was too much for even Leith to handle, and he shut down the factory for good.
Good. Oh, come on, man.
Nearly
All right,
2000s,
2000s.
and the Playtime Co. factory, as well as all that happened there, had largely been forgotten. The world had simply moved on. But in 2002, deep in the bowels of the factory, something or someone was coming back online. Harley had awoken from his mysterious slumber. Ironically, just as he'd always stated, his conversion had actually saved him from death, unlike his former colleagues.
Great. Thanks, Leith Pierre.
There was no one left to stop him. His plans could continue. He could save the rest of humanity from their mortal coil and convert them all into living, eternal toys. So he began hacking into the rest of Playtime's
I like my
systems,
body,
taking control
despite
of
it
all
being a little
communications
weighed
that
up.
were coming in and out of the factory. His plan would come to fruition. At the same time, the bigger bodies also remained in the factory, waiting for the prototype to save them as promised. But food supplies were running short. Some of them began to lose their faith that salvation would ever come. Dog Day was one such toy, and 1006 quickly made an example of him. This type of threat, however, wouldn't work forever, and 1006 knew that. It needed to make progress. It was still trying to create its perfect body, but it just didn't have the know-how. Rich was just a simple construction worker. Sure, he could do some cool things with tech, but biology was a whole other ballgame. It needed help. So, in 2005, it writes a note saying that the employees that went missing were actually still in the factory, waiting to be rescued. And it sends it to the only person that's not only around to hear it, but would actually care enough to make the trip. the player character, PW. PW didn't show up for work on August 8th, 1995. They were still alive, and more importantly, they actually cared about their fellow employees. If there was a chance their colleagues were still around, they needed to help them. Now, as a former employee, they knew their way around the factory. They knew where this flower was that they'd been pointed to. They just had to get there, while also trying to avoid an unpleasant reunion with one of the many bigger bodies they'd helped create.
Come on, PW.
Finds Poppy behind the flower, in the same room she always was. Although, there are now messages around the room warning them not to trust her. Regardless, once they open the case, Poppy agrees to help PW escape. See, she's not that bad at all. Only Mummy then shows up and kidnaps Poppy. After beating all of Mummy's games, PW returns to Poppy and takes her to the train, only for Poppy to now change her mind and stop PW from leaving.
I'm sorry. I can't let you leave.
They really should have trusted the signs. The train crashes in front of the playcare, and with some surprising help from Poppy...
Poppy, I don't want to save others. I want to go.
May or may not be the prototype mimicking a child's voice to trick us. PW
I still think it's the prototype.
The Playcare. Together, they defeat Catnap and begin the long trip down into Playtime's prison. But Kissy doesn't make the trip. She is killed by something on their way down. And
I mean, not killed, but, you know, attacked.
Through the security cameras, making his way down to the prison just a bit ahead of them to reunite with Yarnaby and lay whatever traps he has in store for us down in the depths, along with the nightmare critters, Pianosaurus, and a toy made from Play-Doh, Doughy the Dough Man.
Oh, we definitely need a lot of things to talk about. I need to talk about, firstly, Doughy. That's a video topic we'll have to talk about. And you guys never really mentioned the nightmare critters. Like, what's the nightmare critters if this is true? Like, is the nightmare critters essentially like the Halloween, like, limited time only on Halloween, the nightmare critters? Or were they like bad guys in the Smiling Critter Show?
And that, loyal theorists, is the entire timeline of Poppy Playtime so far.
Okay.
Boy, this franchise is getting big. This is probably the last time I'll be able to do an entire timeline in one video. I mean, look at that.
I'm still pushing mine. Look at this.
It is refreshing that outside of a few
I've been making a lot of big videos.
Most of what we've talked about today are either things Mob has told us directly, or we have a lot of evidence to support. The only real details that are super speculative are things like when the Young Geniuses program started, or why Elliot agreed to start using children in the experiments. We said that the Young Geniuses program
Thomas
started
Elliot,
in the 60s,
we need
but
you to
could
be
very well
good.
be the
Just
50s based on the
misunderstood.
logo. Maybe they were even the ones that helped make the first Poppy dolls. But so long as Harley joins the company early, leaves, and then comes back to cause a bunch of problems, it doesn't really matter which decade it takes place. The same thing goes for Elliot's change of heart towards the orphans. We've got no evidence saying why he made the decisions he did. We may discover his reasoning in the future. It's just not going to change the order of events because we have set dates of when things have to happen. But
I'm sorry, Fanat, but that's the one thing Poppy Playtime has.
Going into chapter 4.
Gives us
I don't know
dates.
about you, but now I'm even more excited to see where all this goes.
I want to run the feed!
What is Harley's big plan? Will I have to rethink the identity of the prototype for a third time? I'm sure all will be revealed in a few weeks. In the meantime, remember, that's just a...
Alright. That is the video, guys, and we might as well end this video right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like the video so I know you guys enjoy. Comment down below what you guys think. After this video and after watching this video, you are going to see some more Poppy related stuff happening on this channel as well as the third channel. Well, mainly the extras channel, but we are going to have a lot to talk about before Poppy Playtime comes out on Thursday next week, where the game is going to be released. So expect that to happen in next week. Be sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out a video. We got a lot of videos coming up this week. And yeah, that's pretty much it. After seeing how long this video is, this is Juan Gamer 54 signing off.